The rain hammered against the windows of our Chicago apartment, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Genevieve and I had built a life, a fortress of shared dreams and quiet routines. I was a software engineer, spending my days wrestling with code, while she poured her energy into her work as a kindergarten teacher. We weren't flashy, but we were solid, or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Genevieve, always punctual, began arriving home late. Her explanations were vague: a staff meeting ran over, or I had to help a student with a project. I didn't question it at first. I trusted her implicitly. Trust, I would soon learn, is a fragile thing. Then came the phone. A new phone, a sleek rose gold device she claimed was for work. She guarded it fiercely, never leaving it unattended, its screen always facing down. I'd catch glimpses of her texting furiously, a secretive smile playing on her lips. When I asked about it, she'd brush me off, saying it was just parents or teacher stuff. My unease grew. I started losing sleep, my mind racing with possibilities, each more unsettling than the last. I tried to dismiss my fears as paranoia, the product of a stressed-out mind. But the gnawing feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. One Saturday, Genevieve announced she was going to a teachers' conference downtown. She kissed me goodbye, a perfunctory peck on the cheek, and hurried out the door. I watched her go, a knot tightening in my chest. Something felt profoundly wrong. I tried to distract myself, tinkering with a personal coding project, but my mind kept drifting back to Genevieve. The conference, the new phone, the late nights, the secretive smiles. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to surprise her, to meet her for lunch near the conference center. I told myself it was a romantic gesture, a way to show her I cared. But deep down, I knew it was something else entirely. It was a test. I arrived at the conference center around noon. The lobby was bustling with teachers, name tags bobbing, voices echoing. I scanned the crowd, searching for Genevieve's familiar face, but she wasn't there. I checked the conference schedule, searching for her name. Nothing. My heart began to pound. I asked a woman at the registration desk if she knew Genevieve, describing her appearance. The woman shook her head. "Sorry, I don't recognize her." A wave of nausea washed over me. I stumbled outside, gasping for air. My carefully constructed world was beginning to crumble. I walked aimlessly for a while, my mind reeling. Where was she? What was she doing? The questions hammered at me, relentless and unforgiving. Then I remembered something. A few weeks earlier, Genevieve had mentioned a new restaurant downtown, a trendy Italian place she'd been wanting to try. "Maybe I'll go there for lunch," she'd said, almost casually. It was a long shot, but I had nothing to lose. I hailed a cab and gave the driver the address. The restaurant was packed, the air thick with the aroma of garlic and parmesan. I stood in the doorway, scanning the tables, my eyes darting from face to face, and then I saw her. She was sitting at a table in the corner, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight. Across from her sat a man I'd never seen before. He was younger than me, with a cocky grin and eyes that lingered a little too long on Genevieve's face. They were holding hands. I stood there frozen, my breath caught in my throat. It felt like the world was tilting on its axis, like the ground was giving way beneath my feet. This couldn't be happening, not to me, not to us. I watched them, transfixed, as they laughed and talked, their faces close together. They looked happy, happier than I'd seen Genevieve in months. The man leaned in and kissed her. A slow, lingering kiss that stole the air from my lungs. That was it. Something inside me snapped. The years of trust, the shared dreams, the quiet routines, all shattered into a million pieces. I turned and walked away blindly, my vision blurred by tears. I didn't confront them. I couldn't. The pain was too raw, too overwhelming. I spent the next few days in a daze, numb and disoriented. I called in sick to work, unable to face the world. I barely ate, barely slept. The image of Genevieve kissing that man replayed in my mind, a constant, tormenting loop. Finally, I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't live like this, trapped in a prison of suspicion and doubt. She came home late that night, her face flushed, her eyes avoiding mine. I waited for her in the living room, my hands trembling, my heart pounding. "Genevieve," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "We need to talk." She hesitated, then sat down on the sofa, her posture stiff and defensive. "What is it, Cillian? I'm tired." "I know about him," I said, the words hanging heavy in the air. Her eyes widened, a flicker of panic crossing her face. About who? What are you talking about? The man at the restaurant, I said, my voice rising. I saw you, Genevieve. I saw you kissing him. She stared at me, speechless for a moment. Then she began to cry. Oh, Cillian, she sobbed. I'm so sorry, sorry, I repeated, my voice laced with bitterness. Is that all you have to say? Sorry, she launched into a tearful explanation, a jumbled mess of excuses and justifications. She said she'd been feeling neglected, that I'd been too focused on work, that she needed something more. I listened in stunned silence, my anger slowly giving way to a profound sense of sadness. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this? After all we'd been through together, who is he? I asked, my voice flat. His name is Theron, she said, her voice barely audible. He's a colleague at school, a colleague, of course. The perfect opportunity, the perfect cover. How long? I asked. She hesitated again, then whispered, a few months, a few months. All those lies, all those secrets, all that deception. I stood up, unable to bear being in the same room with her any longer. I want you to leave, I said, my voice trembling. I want you out of my life. She pleaded with me, begged me to forgive her, promising it would never happen again. But it was too late. The trust was gone, irrevocably broken. There was no going back. She left that night, taking a suitcase filled with her clothes and a lifetime of memories. I watched her go, feeling nothing but emptiness. The woman I had loved, the woman I had built my life with, was gone, replaced by a stranger. The next few months were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and heartbreak. The divorce was messy and painful, but I was determined to get it over with as quickly as possible. I couldn't bear the thought of being tied to her any longer. I threw myself into my work, burying my emotions in lines of code. It was a temporary escape, but it was better than nothing. One day, a few weeks after the divorce was finalized, I received a package in the mail. It was a small, unmarked box. Curious, I opened it. Inside was a USB drive. I plugged it into my computer and a folder popped up, labeled Theron. I clicked on the folder and a series of videos began to play. Videos of Genevieve and Theron. Videos of them laughing, kissing, and more. I watched in stunned silence, my stomach churning. The videos were explicit, intimate, and deeply disturbing. They were also incriminating. As I watched, I noticed something in the background of one of the videos. A stack of papers on Theron's desk. Papers with the school's letterhead. Papers that looked suspiciously like student records. I paused the video and zoomed in on the papers. My blood ran cold. They were student records. And they contained sensitive, confidential information. Theron, it turned out, was not just a teacher. He was also the school's IT administrator. He had access to everything. And he was using that access for his own twisted purposes. A wave of anger washed over me, hotter and more intense than anything I'd felt before. This wasn't just about Genevieve's betrayal. This was about something much bigger. This was about protecting innocent children. I immediately contacted the school principal and reported what I had found. I sent her the USB drive and explained everything. The principal was horrified. She launched an immediate investigation, and Theron was suspended pending the outcome. A few days later, I received a call from the principal. Theron had been fired and was facing criminal charges. The police had seized his computer and found evidence of even more egregious offenses. He had been accessing and sharing student records for years. I felt a sense of grim satisfaction. He had gotten what he deserved. He had abused his power and betrayed the trust of the community. And now he was paying the price. As for Genevieve, I never spoke to her again. I heard through mutual friends that she was devastated by Theron's arrest and that she was struggling to find a new job. I didn't feel sorry for her. She had made her choices and she had to live with the consequences. I moved on with my life, slowly and painfully. The scars of betrayal would always be there, but they would also serve as a reminder of my own strength and resilience. I learned a valuable lesson from this experience. Trust is precious, but it must be earned. And sometimes, the people you think you know best are the ones who are capable of causing you the most pain. I eventually found love again, with someone who valued honesty and loyalty above all else. We built a new life together, a life based on trust and mutual respect. And every time I looked at her, I was reminded of the storm I had weathered and the strength I had found within myself to survive. The rain has stopped now. The sun is shining, and I am finally at peace.